David, I have to be honest with you about two things specifically. The first one, so for all those listening, when we do reviews, we put it into our Discord so that people can look at it, the editors can look at it and, you know, do their edits and basically make suggestions about how they can make the article better. I heard what we call peer edit review, David, I've heard yours, as you know, and you know you're always a pretty good writer, but
appreciate that.
Yeah. That
That's
goes
what he strives for.
You're
pretty good.
I would
bar has been reached.
I am pretty good myself, so you know.
I miss having your articles on Gaming Trend.
I didn't have a whole bunch, to be honest, but
at first you had more though than zero.
I know, yes, that's true. I don't think I've written anything this year. But yeah, I didn't have. So in the Discord, I mentioned that my daughter was keeping me up, and she woke up at 2:00 that morning. So at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, so I don't know what time it was, I started to read through because I was like, I want to know what David has to say. So I'm just going to review this thing myself. I'm going to look at it and edit it. And I was getting through it. And I was like, I'm tired. I don't have the energy to go through this in the same way that I typically would. So mostly I didn't have a bunch of edits because I was so exhausted from being up at 2 a.m. And I was like, here's some obvious stuff. I'll say that. But no, it was good. There was a lot of good things in there. So we'll talk about that. But actually, yeah, that's actually the second thing I need to be honest with you about. I am shocked at your review, to be honest. You gave it a 75. That's not even what I'm shocked at. What I'm shocked at is your thoughts on campaign were generally unfavorable. I really thought you tend to look at the bright
positive
side.
I skew positive.
You look at the bright side of things. Yeah, I'll say it that way. You were not impressed with the campaign. Yeah.
Yeah, you can finish it in 4 hours, and you know, Call of Duty campaigns are generally going to be short. However, compact did not mean that we got just 4 hours of breaching rooms and excitement and everything going 100 million miles an hour. No, it actually slowed to a snail's pace in quite a few sections of this game. So everything opens up with actually there's gameplay it's gameplay they showed at, I believe it was opening night live for Gamescom. It's a mission where you go in, they go into the fortress.
Funny thing about that real quick.
Yeah.
I didn't play it. I watched somebody else. I watched the full play because I was like, I need to be in this conversation. This is Call of Duty. This is what you two play. When that mission popped up, I was like, I've done this before. Like, this can't be Modern. Did I click on the wrong video? Is this Modern Warfare 2? I swear I did this mission. This is Modern Warfare. No, it was Modern Warfare 3. I just had deja vu.
Yep. But it starts out, you end up finding out you're this Russian military faction that is breaking someone out of prison. And once you get all that done, it's like, oh, it's Makarov. And so that's the big reveal is, oh, this is the big villain and everything like that. And of course, as soon as this guy's out of jail, somehow in like 24 hours, he's already making things happen badly. And I'm a little bit confused because of the fact of, I get the whole movie aspect of the bad guy does bad things, but he is just immediately ahead of everyone after just getting out of prison.
So here's something I thought was interesting, and Noah, you could jump in too. He was smoking while he was in prison, clean shaven while he was in prison. That has to mean something. Like, were the Russians just like taking care of him while he was there? Like, I don't like. Did that not?
Whoever had him, I guess he is running the place or whatever.
Yeah,
but there's still that running the place, you don't always have that access to the outside world. And it's like, if you already were doing so much, why? It's not that you don't need to get out, but it's at the same point the thing of like, how come worse is not still happening? Plus, as soon as you get out, then everybody's looking at you as the person who did it. Like, why not run things from inside prison? It's safe in there.
Well, that, and, you know, they could have shown that he was running things inside the prison. And if he was, why did they have to have a full-on small army break him out? Like,
That's what I'm saying.
there was nobody like they showed on the inside to help them or anything, you know, remotely.
Yeah.
They didn't think about what they were doing, like the situations that they put themselves in.
You get a lot of moments that are never organically set up. That is really one of the biggest faults of this.
That's a great way to put it.
Things just happen.
It's so true.
Yeah, like it just happens, and you're left kind of sitting there like, oh, I'm not sure why this is important. I'm just not sure why it's important. And that's something that a lot of past Call of Duties have done really well, even if it's just a little bit of exposition. And there's so little of that in this game that even that isn't setting it up. Like when you're driving through Las Almas with Alejandro, who is missing from this game, and I am so mad about that. Because he was one of the best parts of Modern Warfare 2. Like all the stuff that is going on with him and Valeria and stuff. Yes, it's completely a side mission in terms of like a side thing of what's going on, but all of it is talked out as they're driving in the car. Like you're getting all of this backstory and everything. You don't get that at all.
No, you literally go from one mission. It was like they break out Makarov. The next mission is you're with a old girl in Urzikstan.
And I love Farah, and I want to play as Farah, but not like this.
But it was just like you're at a port, and it's like, oh, we're here now. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jarring. Very jarring how quickly you move through these different things.
Like a speed run almost.
Feels rushed. It feels rushed, which is, you know, the game in terms of the campaign. There's one mission, and I'm blanking on it now because I was going to say that there's spoilers. But there was a mission in particular I was thinking about, and I can't. The one that happens in Verdansk Stadium.
Okay, yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
Essentially, the first meeting of Makarov. Like I said, spoilers here for what happens in the campaign for anyone watching. In all fairness, I'm not spoiling that much for you. But you go through all of this, and obviously Makarov does his thing, and it turns out it wasn't the stadium and all that kind of stuff. And like we've been talking about, again, the importance, the things you're there, and you're like, this is important. I just don't know why. And it felt that way with this. Like it felt like I'm supposed to have,
like,
I don't know if sympathy or what. I'm supposed to have this moment of engaging of the horror of what just happened. But it just isn't there because I don't have setup as to why I'm chasing this guy. How did he do this? Why is he such a big deal in this prequel kind of moment as to why he is doing this, him specifically? Because you could have put anybody in that moment, and I would have felt exactly the same.
Well, the interesting thing about, and I guess maybe, I don't know, I guess there's going to be some spoiler-ish stuff in here, but that was a flashback moment, right?
Yeah.
And so that whole setup was just for the reason of why Price didn't do the thing he thought he should have done. And it was like, we had all this exposition. And so you got the point halfway through the mission. It was like, oh, okay, that's why you didn't do the thing. And then the other thing happened, and you don't have a connection to it because the whole point of the mission has been fulfilled. And so you're just acting out and following through with the rest of what happened. And it's like, oh yeah, Makarov is a bad guy. We already figured that out in like mission 4 and 5 with the other attack stuff that happened.
And one of the things that annoys me is this whole campaign, you have what is supposed to be like our top team, like the most intelligent, the best equipped, the best, they're just dumb and stupid the entire campaign. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking about the flashback scene with Price. If they would have showed like some reason why they were connected, like if they had had a previous like engagement or they knew each other or something like that,
It never
like,
felt
why,
personal.
and so, and delving into spoilers, why is this is a dude who they know is one of the most like notorious terrorists, and you're gonna Batman this guy and just like, well, we're not gonna kill him. Like, no, like, you put him down there. You don't Batman him because you see what happens and they're like, oh my gosh, we can't believe it. It's like, well, it's your own fault.
And it feels like you really wasted the good voice cast too, because like Price, Barry Sloan,
the voice
is
work
phenomenal.
Of course.
All the voice work.
Soap is great. As much as I hated the form I got her, I love having Farah. Like, I missed her in Modern Warfare 2 because she's just there as a cameo pretty much, whereas she's fully playable in this one. So it's great to have her back, but
they didn't do her justice.
They didn't do her justice, but at least we got more time with her than Modern Warfare 2. And then this is personal opinion, and it's because of how I felt back in Modern Warfare 2 in 2009. Graves and General Shepard are just straight slimy and unlikable.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
They're not villains. Like, they're just people you don't like. Like, they're like those next door neighbors who make too much noise and like do bad things and stuff that make you just despise them, as opposed to like the terror of a real villain. Like when when Shepard in 2009 all of a sudden pulls his gun out after Roach hands him the device or whatever it is that you went to get with Ghost, and he shoots both of them, it's personal. You feel betrayed. You did not see it coming. Like, and I get that it's hard to replicate that because of the fact that we obviously have the connection already with this character. But instead, it's like they're in a courtroom. Again, more spoilers. They're in a courtroom just throwing each other under the bus. They just feel like slimy people who are only out for themselves instead of real villains who want to cause harm to the rest of the world.
I agree with you in the sense of like, I don't see them as like these hyper villains like they were in Modern Warfare 2 2009. But I think part of that is Shepard is just more political in this in terms of how he acts. Like, he's not in the field at all up until a certain point. And then, even then, I mean, not really. But so he's like pulling strings and like being Mr. Political in how he talks to people and how he goes about doing things. And so I think that is how they try to portray his scumminess. Like, you're almost like a politician in a general's uniform. And I think you could, there's a sense.
I just don't think it's compelling in this. Like, it's just not really compelling to me.
I agree. I think the sense of you're just trying to save your butt is disgusting, but it's not enough to feel like. It almost feels like perhaps there is some redemption left for him. Perhaps something can happen where he just is brought to justice and now we're just dealing, like, it just doesn't go deep enough to where it's like, I need to kill this dude. The same way Price is like, I need to kill this dude.
But like last game, like the whole Graves thing of he's alive kind of, they even make it sound stupid when he shows up on the webcam of, oh look, I guess you didn't kill me like you thought, kind of how it's treated. And it's like this again, no setup, no point. Like it's just this every thing that drops in the narrative, like, just feels rushed, and that there wasn't time to actually set it up to be compelling or to be correct. It's just there because it was on the outline. Like, that's
like
really
they had
what
a
it feels
rough
like.
draft that they're like, hey, we want to start here, we want to end here. And then they kind of had a little bit of an idea, but they didn't go anywhere past that.
Yep.
It's just, point A, point B, point C, and we're going to have a couple of boring, bland missions to, tie it together with a couple of scenes, some voice lines, and that's about it.
And there's some fun missions in it. Like, I liked Frozen Tundra. Like, I thought that was a really cool looking mission.
I didn't play it, but that looked like a cool mission.
The whole, it had one of those Call of Duty ideas when you start getting shot at from snipers who are camouflaged. Like, that was an immediate, oh, this is the Call of Duty feel I remember, where it's like, oh, I got to search for these guys with thermal scopes now. And then they did the whole thing of, oh, the wind's kicking up so you can't see with thermal, but they can't either, so you can move up now. And it's like, okay, this is the creativity that we usually get in these Call of Duty missions, because Call of Duty missions are generally underrated. Like, they're one of the prettiest game, like, campaigns out there. And usually they've got these really cool set pieces that they put together to engage you in this action movie like set. And those were just not here. That's like, even No Russian was disappointing to me. Like, everybody should just go and try to experience this stuff themselves. I just didn't feel. And I don't want to say that I wanted to feel involved, but like it felt like it was just kind of, again, could have been this really intense thing. But when the way that they decided to do it did not work.
No.
Like, for me, at least. For me. I know there are people who liked it, but it didn't work for me.
I think, like, there was a moment where you really felt the scumminess of Makarov, and it was like, okay, yeah, this dude, he's off the rocker for sure. I can feel that. So good voice, all that. Like, they nailed some of that, but it's hard to replicate the thing when it's titled the same, right? So, like, your immediate feel is going back to the original No Russian, and you cannot top that, because at the time, it was 2009, so it was just a different time of the world.
I mean, it was in the news.
Yeah.
Like, it was big,
super big, mainstream news. What is this mission? You're actually
they had the thing about turning it off, like the content, so you could skip it.
Yeah, because the skip wasn't originally in there. So now you go back to this, and it's like, okay, well, like, the whole No Russian was a reference to the idea of don't speak any Russian. So this is the idea of putting the blame on somebody else was still there, but it was taken out of your hands a lot. And I get why they did that. They didn't want to necessarily replicate the same idea of, you're going to walk through an airport and do all this stuff, which a lot of people forgot. If you didn't actually shoot anybody, nothing happened. Like, you just went through the mission anyway. So, like, a lot of people were complaining,
but you experienced what was going on.
So you literally didn't have to shoot a shot, and you still go through the mission. A lot of people forgot about that part. But this, you literally just have no agency in how things pan out. So you do kind of watch it, and it doesn't have the same impact.
Now, something that doesn't have any impact is the open combat missions.
I was about to bring up.
Those are just, it's spec op missions with a little bit of, like, voiceover, and they're just throwaway. Like, they really are. Like,
I didn't know there were going to be so many of them, because the one thing I love, what all of them, the Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and Sledgehammer, what they do with the campaigns is they try different things in the throughout the campaign. Not every level is just walking straight through, going follow and doing the thing. Sometimes you are in the AC-130. Sometimes you are crouched and sniping and stealth and all that. Like they try different things but there was like 9 missions that were open combat. I was like, oh no, this is no.
And let me go ahead and say the AC-130 mission that is in this game is one of the most boring AC-130 missions I've ever played.
This was cool back in 2009, you know? Like,
I mean, the fact that you sit there the entire level and it's just blow a couple things up, then listen to dialogue, then blow a couple things up, then listen to dialogue. It just,
I mean, I think they had one in 2019, didn't they? That was more interesting.
It was still boring, but it wasn't this
level. Yeah.
Like this level of boring. Because you were at least changing to different areas as you were in the AC-1. This is literally all in the exact same map.
Like, if they would have had us like swap between the ground team and Graves, there's interaction. There's not me sitting there and they're like, oh, you got to take this thing out. And I'm like, okay, where is it? Let me just scroll around until they tell me where it's at.
Do a little, we've got to reload. Give us some time.
Yeah.
Going back to like the open world, the idea of like, oh, you can go how you want to, stealth or guns a-blazing, you still ended up having to engage people, even if you did stealth. So there was no flexibility in how the mission.
The only thing people did was just run literally to the points. Like that's the only thing you have to do. Like, so you just run to it, because the difference with this compared to like a Horizon Forbidden West, I know it's apples to oranges kind of a thing, is I've been trained this whole time in Horizon to do things in different ways. In Call of Duty, you are setting me up from the very start that I'm going from point A to point B in a level. How in the world do you think I'm going to approach every single open combat mission because you have a designator on that map? I'm going to go from point A to point B every time because your game sets me up to do that, and I'm not trained to do that outside, even in open combat missions.
Do you think if they didn't have a waypoint just pointing you to exactly where you needed to go, do you think it would have been better?
I think people would have straight up quit. They just wouldn't have wanted to do it. They'd be like, what am I even doing?
They even did the fog thing of where you uncover the level as you move around.
I didn't notice that.
And they did.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not running around this whole level to unfog it. Like,
they also had moments where you did or did not know where an area was, depending on where the marker was, because the marker didn't tell you elevation.
Oh, that's true.
You had to listen for dialogue, like when you go to I think it's a lighthouse in that first mission. She's like, on the 3rd floor, so you have to be listening for that. If you miss that, Lord help you, you're not going to find it.
Hey, shout out to subtitles.
For a while.
Shout out to subtitles.
Subtitles, yes.
Yeah,
Here's where I think Sledgehammer went wrong. Picture this, all right? You guys...
Making a sequel.
Making a direct sequel. Let's go with direct sequel.
So you guys are soldiers, right? Top trained soldiers. You're about to drop into a nuclear power plant, okay? To stop an enemy from doing something, all right? You guys know what it is, but whatever the something is. Wouldn't you say you're going to prepare as much as you can, right? Okay.
So I want to open orange crates.
Yeah. So, you drop out of the plane, the loudest plane that you can find, fly over the destination, and then look for things you need to grab. What the frick? that was literally the 3rd mission. You get the giant ship, you jump out of it, land, and now you're going searching for some. I'm like, you guys are dropping into a nuclear power plant where the Makarov PMC is there, and you're going in as about unprepared as I've ever seen in Call of Duty. That is where Sledgehammer went, because honestly, the open combat, I liked the
Bam, you couldn't have brought a 3-plate vest. You got to pick that up as you go.
And the fact that they're all just lying around.
In his previous run. You know, he didn't extract with it, so he has to go back in to get it. That's a DMZ joke.
I love the mission. I forget what it's where you have to find Makarov's financier, and you hear the dialogue talking about how Shadow had left stuff around for you, and it's like, oh my, so they've already been here. So they've already been here.
Bam,
so now
could you not have done this mission already?
Right?
Yeah. I wouldn't have had to do it.
It's wild. That's where Sledgehammer, I think, went wrong. Like, open combat, that's fine, but we've seen in video games where it's like the multiplayer feels a little bit different, even though the single player does incorporate some of those multiplayer elements. Take out like all the Warzone pickup, all that stuff, and just like go in like a regular Call of Duty mission, but it's just open. You can just go places and figure out where you need to. I think that would have worked fine.
Yep. Honestly, for me, I would have even been fine with just take out all the regular story missions and just make everything open combat. At least then I've got a like straight line, if that makes sense. I don't know if
that would have worked.
I'm not. I just think I think expectations would be different, though.
I agree,
because then you don't have a campaign, and instead it's more of Spec Ops.
But y'all just admitted that open combat wasn't even that interesting in the first place. So if they went the whole game as open combat, people would not have.
Yeah. How many Warzone?
I'm not saying there's a lot of ways to make
can
this
they
better.
reuse for campaign missions?
Yeah,
let's be real. How many more sections can they reuse for the campaign? They probably ran out. That's why we didn't have that many combat missions.
It was very disappointing to play this campaign. That is 100% true.
And so I'll end it, or my one of my rants. And I told this to David. And this is heavy spoilers towards the end. Just because I like this joke, this insult to the game. How can you have one of your core game modes be called kill confirmed, but you don't confirm the kill of the number one terrorist that you've been after? Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, how dumb are they that they don't confirm the kill in a game where a mode is all about confirming your kills like that?
Well, and just the sloppiness of the idea that you would not go down to the ground and confirm the kill.
And, again,
that's just basics.
Shepard had no rank over Price, right?
No, because they were in a hole as far as I know.
Yeah, and also Shepard or Price could have just made that call, be like, no, we're going to make sure, like, we need to double check.
Well, I think
let this guy go once before.
I think narratively, like, he wasn't stripped of his rank yet. So, I mean, if I think
martial stopping.
I mean, he's on the minute. If he's not supposed to be involved, he ain't supposed to be involved, but he's involved. So I think the only thing that matters there is that perhaps this isn't a mission on the books necessarily. And so maybe that's the way Price can just get around not listening to Shepard. But I mean, I agree with you. Price shouldn't.
Does that mean it's Black Ops?
Ooh, we're setting up. We're not getting Modern Warfare 4. It's Black Ops 1 all over again.
We can't get Modern Warfare 4. Price is going to jail for committing first-degree murder in that post-credits.
Are we sure about that? Because he used the silencer and he took the gun with him, and it's not like his DNA.
He didn't pull up on the mini map because he had a silencer.
Exactly. So, who's going to figure that out? I mean, is Laszlo going to get detained and lie detected and all that? I don't know. I
probably not.
Why does Sledgehammer just keep making these are the kind of boneheaded decisions? Sledgehammer, like every Call of Duty, Vanguard, it was just like, okay, Sledgehammer again. Advanced Warfare, I did think that was a fine Call of Duty, honestly. Like, I really didn't have a problem
I think
with
looking
it.
back, I like the campaign.
The campaign was good.
That's actually what they've wanted to do. They wanted to do Advanced Warfare 2, and they were told to do Vanguard, and then they wanted to do Advanced Warfare 2 again this year, and they were told to do Modern Warfare 3. And then they came up with a spin-off story that would have been its own self-contained idea, and they were told no, direct sequel.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel bad for them because they keep being told to do what they're not actually passionate to do.
Yeah.
And they're also having to step in and do a rush job on 2 separate games.
Yeah, because wasn't the dev time on this like 16 months or something like that?
16 months. Yep.
And I know that the dev time on Vanguard was low too.
So do you think the open combat missions was because of the limited time?
Yep.
Because
100%.
Okay. I guess
that you have to put in.
Yep. Oh, I mean, I talked about this to David. Like, there's a lot of reused and recycled assets in this campaign.
Well, yeah. That's clear.
I get it. You know,
but to me, it just felt like now is not the time to experiment with a new style of doing missions. Like, do what you know to do. But I guess that takes more time.
You and I played Modern Warfare 2 Spec Ops missions, which are very similar. So, like, that's pretty much what they did. They found probably pieces of Warzone and multiplayer maps, and they turned them around and turned them into, what we got. Actually, the one right after No Russian, where Farah is exploring the plane, like, there are parts of that remind me of one of the Spec Ops missions, as well as also reminds me of the plane that you're in Modern Warfare 2 in one of the first missions. Like, so it's like I could see certain possible reused pieces from there. So I think that's what happened, because you don't have to shape in those open combat missions. You don't have to shape the environment to what you need it to be. You can just drop objectives into that environment based on what it already is. So I really think it was we don't have time. We can only do some missions. We have to do the missions that we have to do that set the story, even though we really don't have enough of that. And then we have to do open combat missions for the rest of them, because that's the only way this thing is going to fill out slightly.
So you're saying Sledgehammer is getting the short end of the stick on all development Call of Duty minus Advanced Warfare, which... Do people even want another Advanced Warfare?
And World War II, that
was Vanguard, right?
Not Vanguard. They did.
That was World War
I. Vanguard.
I don't think people will ever admit it, but I think they do want a Advanced Warfare 2. I don't think people will admit it, but I think they would. They'd probably be like mad at first, and then they can be like, "Oh no," and then they'll play them.
Right now, everybody wants jetpacks back. I remember back in the day they hated them like with a dying passion, but we're in that.
That's what I remember.
We're at that part of the cycle where everybody wants jetpacks again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I mean, in that case, then yeah, I guess I hadn't quite considered it that way. I didn't know all the details about Vanguard and World War II, and I did know some of the nonsense that happened with this game, but the open combat missions at the time I was looking at it, I was like, why did y'all go with this? But I guess quicker dev time.
Think about it that way, it really makes sense. It's a quick turnaround.
It's unfortunate, like, having to, like, what they, were able to do in the 16-month period. Props to them. But that doesn't excuse it, it's still bad.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, but this is now a story of they did what they could.
Yep.
And yet they still called it a labor of love, and they're incredibly proud.
Well, I'm sure they put
That's called PR, my guy.
I know.
That is called PR, my guy.
Oh my gosh. It's just like, these are the words you guys want to say to the fans? It probably even actually wasn't to the fans. It was probably to investors.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're so excited. Always, anytime there's like a new premiere of a game or devs come out to talk about, almost a drinking
fam,
game.
Fam, you say anything else, you're about to get layoffs. So
yeah. So you got to be like, oh yeah, we're so excited. It's like my drinking game when devs like, we're so excited to show you all, we love what we do, and it's like, yep, that's some PR talk. If I've ever you got a behind the scenes a gun pointed at you.
That's probably pretty accurate. Where does Modern Warfare go? Like Modern Warfare 4, and I mean they still haven't captured Makarov, so
there'll be a 4, but obviously it'll get way more dev time.
Is it going to be Infinity Ward then?
Yep, it'll be Infinity Ward.
God, why did they go with Modern Warfare 3 as a direct? Yeah, that's super disappointing.
That's called marketing.
I mean, again, direct sequel is the easiest way to reuse assets. So that's easiest way to put it.
And easiest way for them to charge full price.
Yep.
Put a new number on it and you can charge full price.
All right. Well, there's more to that than the campaign. So you guys
Let's get to the good parts of this game.
Yeah. Are they good? Is zombies good?
I like zombies a lot. There's a lot of people who are going to look at it and say it's just a reskin of DMZ, and they're not necessarily wrong, but I think it's incorrect to take that at face value, like that assumption.
Okay, why?
Because they put a lot of really neat zombie stuff in. There are different zones for zombies, so you'll infill on the outskirts, the zone of the outskirts. Then you'll have the second zone. As you work your way in the map, you got tougher zombies in that, different types.
Oh, so basically as you progress, the zombies
and then when you work your way to the third zone, it's the toughest zone. So it's the one that has a lot tougher ones. We've not gotten to that one yet because we don't want to die and lose all our crap because it does still have the Tarkov DMZ thing of you die, you lose.
Oh, that's an interesting twist.
And I'm treating it. David put it really good because I was like, what's the end game? Like, what's the end? Because I didn't play a lot of DMZ, so this was kind of a new thing for me.
Yeah, he was sitting there complaining a little bit.
I'm like, what am I supposed
because he didn't understand
to
what
do?
was going on.
I was like, why? I was like, what's the end game? Like, I'm just getting a little checkbox, and then David, explained it, and I started to think of it as almost like a roguelike, where you want to progressively build up to get stronger, and then you go for the main goal.
Oh, interesting.
And that kind of mindset what helped
DMZ and Tarkov are. Although those involve PvP, whereas that is the other thing that I thought was really cool with this is there's no PvP in zombies. It is all PvE.
Did anybody expect PvP for zombies?
Well, DMZ had PvP.
Oh my gosh.
You never know what's going to happen.
Good Lord.
But I'm fine with the fact that there's no PvP because the last thing I want is to get third-partied when I'm fighting 500 zombies.
Yeah. No.
And we were having a lot of fun running around just doing these different open world contracts, and they spawn you in. There's like an actual story mission that you're essentially doing, which admittedly they're pretty by the numbers. Like right now, I think we're on get 50 cryo kills with cryo ammunition, and then 10 kills. Like that's how you progress the story essentially.
It's a checklist
by doing different objectives, your checklist. Yeah. And eventually it will work its way into you fighting like some main zombie bosses as you continue to go on. But like Noah was talking about, like you're playing this and you can exfil with some things. Those some things are, for instance, the Pack-a-Punch perks or the perk-a-colas.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
You'll
like
be able
classic Black Ops zombie stuff that you see.
Yep. Which they have stuff around. They have it around the map that you can go ahead and spend money and get the benefits. You can earn them through the RNG of doing different contracts and missions and such that are just on the map. Because there's a bunch of side objectives you can just go around and just do, and it can be as simple as go eliminate. You got a bounty on a zombie, so you go eliminate a specific zombie, or you go and you like escort like this machine that's this little tank machine that's closing rifts, or you're going to destroy spores. Like there are specific things you go around and the RNG will either sometimes will give you the perks and all that kind of stuff. But if depending on what you get, you can actually pick the cans up and store them away. So that way when you exfil out, you can have them to bring back in on your next run, because once you exfil, you lose your perks, you lose the pack-a-punch on your gun, and the benefits. So when you go back in, your gun resets and you reset as far as like all that kind of stuff goes. So the only
can you use that stuff that you pick up immediately instead, so you can progress?
You can use
further?
it. You can use it immediately if you decide to, or you can hold it back. So
what's the advantage then of holding it back?
You start with
for that next run.
But if the next run starts like on like basic easy zombies, then if you get it later, then why not just use it then?
So
and
I guess I should say there are 40. You have 45 minutes in each run, so you can't do everything.
You
are timed.
Okay,
like you were timed.
I brought
you
that up to David.
Exfil.
I was like, homie, how are we supposed to make it to the end game in 45 minutes?
Yeah, he kept saying all that. So essentially, you're prepping, and you are all these other runs are. I'm getting the stuff I need so that when I come in here, I can jump right in and jump right into the hard zone. I don't even have to worry about these zones. So you're doing all this stuff. They even have schematics. Like, it is part of the RNG, but you can get schematics where you can actually it's on like a 3-hour cooldown. But like, you can go in and choose from your schematics and be like, I want napalm ammo. So I'm going to make one of these, or I'm going to make a Juggernog cola because I want to start with extra health. So it's not just that you bring it out, but you're also trying to get that RNG so that you get the schematic so that you can choose what you want to infill with. And they still do have it.
Compelling.
Yeah, and they still do have it where you can. In DMZ, you had insured weapon slots where you can create a blueprint that you can take in with you of a gun, but then of course you have guns you can pick up as you're in the game, and if you exfil with them, they become what's called contraband weapons, which you can choose from that you have stored and take them back into the game again. If you die with those weapons, you lose them.
Right.
If it's your insured slot, then you don't lose the gun, you just can't use it for a certain time limit. And doing runs can lessen that time limit if you do them successfully after. So it's just fun to me, like, especially when you've got friends, which I would not really suggest solo. It's really tough solo.
Yeah, I've done a couple I've done a couple runs, and I told David, I was like, homie, this was designed to be played with friends. The solo experience is very skewed. But one thing that, if you are a hardcore solo player and you just don't want to queue up, with an LFG or anything like that, there is a, because I just ran into this when I was grinding some of the weapon levels. You can, there are other people on the map. It's not just you, and there are blue dots that, that you can see other squads and other people. You can run up to those other squads and request to join them.
Oh.
Which is really, like, you won't join their party or anything. You'll just be kind of part of their group.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Assimilation, which is something they actually did in DMZ. And you can do up to 6 players that way. You can infill with up to 3 on your team, but you can go up to 6.
Oh, that's interesting.
We actually had a solo player who we were playing, and he actually asked if he could be a part of our party, like did the ping system to do that. And we ended up bringing him in, and he helped us do a couple of missions and stuff. And it was pretty neat.
That's cool.
And one thing too, like if you go down, like if you're a solo player, for instance, one kind of nice thing that I like, and I'm sure it works for, parties and those groups that are queued up. If you go down and like your res timer runs out or whatever, you can actually, it's one of the D-pads. I think it's the down D-pad, but you can plea for help and it'll ping nearby squads, and they can come over even if your res timer is like past, as long as that like within that 45-minute time frame, they can swing by and res you.
Wow.
Which is really nice.
That's
which other teams can res you if you're down too, so that's also nice.
This is just nice, if you don't, want to lose anything. You're like, if you're willing to wait a little bit, if you plead for help, and you get somebody who's nice and comes over and res you, that way you don't lose your stuff. So yeah, there's some things I really liked about it. As someone who didn't play a lot of DMZ, I'm having a lot of fun with it.
It does sound like a lot of fun. That sounds like
now that he understands the point.
Now that I understand the moment he said it's like think roguelike, I was like, boom, okay, I'm good. I'm set.
Yeah, that's your language, Noah, right there. Yep. Roguelike. Yep. Got it.
Because I was like, dude, David, I got like $3,000 and it's been 10 minutes. How are we gonna get to the end game?
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
It was a good learning experience for me because I didn't play DMZ because I didn't really care for the PvP aspect.
Sure.
Because of the whole third party, and all that stuff. And so with zombies not having PvP in it, it's been a ton of fun. I've really, really enjoyed it.
So how has the multiplayer compared to what you guys were playing in the beta?
Oh, David.
It's the multiplayer. It's the multiplayer we were playing in the beta. Honestly,
Well, I remember you guys complaining about some of the stuff that was happening in it. Were those things fixed? Are there other problems? Are there? Yeah, I mean
this is where David and I. This is where David and I differ.
Well, as far as the technical things, they fixed them. In terms of we talked about the battle rages and some of the slide delays and some of that kind of stuff. That stuff has been largely fixed, and they've made some good other changes, and they're rolling out more changes. They've actually got an experimental playlist where they're actually working around a blue outline on your teammates so that you're not accidentally shooting at them. And since you can move so much faster, just suddenly you'll see your buddy. And
I have that problem in any Call of Duties. Everybody just looks the same.
They're working on stuff like that, different little changes here and there. Obviously, the biggest issue with this game is how ridiculously high tuned the skill based matchmaking is, and it is just every lobby has been a slog that we have played. I mean, just.
That's the way I like it.
Up, it's
it
feels like we're walking through quicksand sometimes. It's that bad. Yeah, it's just I don't want to be it's that whole catch-22 because obviously if you're a lot of times it's the people who are good that are complaining, and then if you took away SBMM all the way, you would just have the Call of Duty pros trashing you in a lobby because you're not as good as you think you are, whatnot. But it's
you feel pretty honored if Octane dropped 50 on me. Yeah. I feel pretty honored.
But it's
just saying.
I got a shot on him. One of those, I didn't kill him. I hit him.
Shot at him. I shot at draws it, guys. It's okay.
Yeah. It's still one of those things where you feel like it could be tuned just a little less. It could be because
a lot less.
If I do good once, I feel like the next 5 games are me going 10-40. I can't do good without being punished for it. It is rough, and it doesn't help because obviously we talk about the Modern Warfare 2 maps. I love the maps. They're iconic. They're nostalgic, but there are core gameplay issues that those maps have. Because of the way those maps were played and because the way the game played on those maps back in the day. Back in the day, it was an AR's game. So guess what shreds everyone in this game?
SMGs.
ARs.
No.
So the SMGs are pretty underpowered, which I'll admit, SMGs have been pretty OP over the last couple of years of Call of Duty. So I can't be completely mad. Because I was beaming people with the MP40 in Call of Duty Vanguard across the map. So it'd be so it's just switch to an AR. But it's my word, because of the way these maps are set up, there are so many head glitches that you can sit at in this map and just sit there and barely be seen.
Oh, which map?
With an AR. All of them.
Oh, okay.
All of them have heady spot. Skid Row may be the most fair in terms of there are at least spots I can play around. And yes, movement is there so that it can help you in some of these spots. But fam, if I'm on derail, slide canceling around in an open snowfield is not going to keep me from being sniped. Like, there are just not a lot of routes one can take on that map. Like, that map is, if you're using an SMG, run into one of the warehouses and sit there, because there's nowhere else you can go.
Well, I feel like that's actually was a lot of people's complaints with the old maps in the first. Oh, there was a lot of camping.
Yep. And I don't think that I see a lot of camping necessarily in this one as much as I see just straight up head glitches.
Oh, yeah.
We're playing. It is rough.
Say that again.
Terminal.
Your mic was kind of cutting out a little bit, Noah.
All the lobbies that Dave and I are playing, it's not that people are just sitting in corners camping. It's just they're sweating, sitting at headies, want to go for their pro, tryouts, and it's just exhausting. Yeah.
Well, because it really does come down to a game of one bullet. Like, you're sitting at a heady, they're sitting at a heady. Whoever just gets the last bullet is the one who wins.
That's the most engaging.
You're doing your best.
That sounds miserable.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. If you want to roll the footage of the multiplayer, this is actually a map where I actually did well. But it's just the setup of the maps. Like, I get some of it, and not all of them are going to be good, because everybody knows that people were dropping out of lobbies back in Modern Warfare 2 if it wasn't one of the top 4. If it wasn't High Rise or Terminal or Rust, or people were just quitting. Like, nah, I'm not playing Derail. What are you talking about? I ain't playing Underpass.
Which I do think kit registration is worse since the beta, just from my experience. I've talked to David about it a lot, but just there's a lot of ghost bullets, non-registration and stuff.
I think that's at least it's fixable. Like, something like that is fixable.
It's fixable, but that is one of the most frustrating things. I hate when Call of Duty has bad hit registration, because you only get like 1.2 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah. It's whoever's host.
Right. Oh, God. Yeah. That sounds familiar.
There's a couple that I get on here where it's like, I hit every bullet. But as you can see, like, it's really smooth and it's fast. Like, I love how arcade Call of Duty is back in this game.
No, it's super fast. And I mean, it definitely has vibes of old Modern Warfare 2 and whatnot. What is that skin you are wearing? What is this? You're on
Groot.
Fire.
That is Earth 2 Groot. So.
Oh my God.
Well, it's not Groot necessarily, but it certainly looks like Groot.
Yeah. Did you just kill Makarov?
Yes. Shiny Makarov.
Shiny. Yeah.
How Call of Duty has evolved. My goodness.
I'm playing as Groot here, got his sweat skin out.
Is it my? No, it should be my Laura Croft.
That's your. It's probably because Noah's Laura Croft in this.
Yeah, I'm Laura Croft.
That's my brother with his sweat skin.
And
that's
Valeria. Yeah.
Yep.
So
it's just,
I like Tomb Raider.
The game just feels good to play though. Like, they have not lost what makes Call of Duty that FPS that you just have fun playing. Shooting a gun feels good still. Doing all the different stuff, sliding around, jumping, all the things. It just feels good.
So in this game, the AR seems to be the prominent one, but is there any game where just all the classes are at least somewhat balanced? Because I feel like every Call of Duty goes through this class of gun is just run around with a sniper and you'll be fine. Or you run around with an SMG, you'll be fine.
I mean, I think the guns are decently balanced in terms of, there's my snap.
Yeah, I saw the turn and
yep.
Yeah.
All of the guns are pretty decently balanced. It's just, again, it's the maps you're using them on is kind of like, I feel like most guns, like, you don't have a ton of guns that are just way overpowered compared to something else. It's just that, like, if you're using an SMG on this map, you're a lot of times at a disadvantage because of the sightlines. Like it's and it really does boil down to and something that a lot of people don't understand. You have to learn how to play these games. If I have an SMG, I can't just run out in the open and like just start challenging.
Why not, David?
Way across.
Why
Like,
not? I can
because your
slide
gun,
cancel
because
across
that
the
is not
rooftops
what your
and down hills.
That is not what your gun is built for.
Well, how else am I supposed to run around and with my shotgun?
Thankfully, you know, and I don't know if Noah can second this, but
David, we don't see those lobbies because of SBMM. It'd be nice if we did. We could see those, but we never will. So
I don't feel like we've seen nearly as many shotguns in this one. I don't think the shotguns are nearly as OP as they were back in Modern Warfare 2.
Well, I think these maps are a lot bigger.
And
a lot bigger
helps.
and more open.
Yeah.
They're more open.
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of shotguns in Modern Warfare 2 2009.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that bad unless you're on like
was
Rust.
it 2 or 3 that had the Spaz 12?
I think that was
it was 2. It was 2.
Was
dude.
it 2 that had the Spaz 12 that was
sure.
you could snipe people on Afghan with it? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So
it was 2. If it was Afghan, it's 2. Yeah. I think I get another good snap over here.
Wasn't that didn't that problem come up again in 2019? Wasn't there a shotgun that like beamed people?
Watch this one.
We're watching. This is still a podcast.
I'm running around cracked, man.
Audio listeners are shook. They're like, "What?" They're
looking around
freaking out. Like,
look, guys, look. Well, you're literally cracked. Look at your skin.
I mean, towards the end of last year's COD Modern Warfare 2, the slugs were pretty insane because they buffed those.
You could snipe with them. Like, it was bad.
So
yeah.
I don't think shotguns should be strong.
What's really funny is
I don't think snipers should be like you just run around and just no scope.
Yeah,
so easily.
Which speaking of, they only added 3 new snipers in this game, which I am not happy about. And 2 of them are battle rifles. I'm sorry, they are.
What?
That's more what they feel like. Yeah,
that sounds like a Borderlands kind of sniper.
Yeah,
one that acts like a battle rifle instead.
It's literally a semi-auto battle rifle.
That's an AK.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that that we played against who can get a lot of one-shot kills with it, but you have to be really close range, and they don't play like snipers. I talked about it a little bit, but yeah, they just don't feel like snipers to me. There's only one that truly feels like a long range weapon. The other
is that because it's bolt action
and high powered. Yep.
Okay.
That's the cat, right?
Yep. But the longbow and the KV, both are just not snipers. I'm sorry.
What's really funny is that apparently so they did some carry forward, and we'll get to the whole entire idea of that in a second. But they did carry forward, and they brought 4 of the Modern Warfare 2 maps from like not 2009, but last year's game. They actually brought them forward into this game.
Well, I imagine they could do it because it's the same game.
Same game.
Yeah. But what's really funny about it is one of the players or one of the main accounts, the fan accounts, made a tweet and was like, "This, you're telling me we really could have been playing this game all of last year?" Because he's like, these maps feel so good when you add Modern Warfare 3 movement and jumping and all of this into it. Because the TTK is much like, yes, it's maybe 1 or 2 more bullets, but it still feels right. Like, it feels good.
Yeah.
It feels like there's some skill involved.
That's fair. So I heard about this Call of Duty hub. I don't remember exactly what it's called. What is that?
HQ. Call of Duty HQ. The launcher kind of thing?
Yeah. There's a launcher now?
It's pretty much just a way to manage all of your Call of Duty games in one app, and right now it just insta boots to Modern Warfare 3. So I just don't even think about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I've been reading that, and this is just from random people on the internet, no, from journalists or anything, that it auto boots to Modern Warfare 3. So how do you boot up Modern Warfare 2 if you wanted to?
You just scroll down to the bottom of the, like, if you've got both installed, like you would scroll down on the Hulu menu at the very beginning at your start menu, essentially, and there's a Modern Warfare 2 area, and you'd click that, and it would essentially reboot the game into Modern Warfare 2.
That is okay. Perhaps it's clunky because Modern Warfare 3 is Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, it's just clunky in general.
Okay. All right. Well. All right. Let's
carry forward. All the Modern Warfare 2 weapons are in the game. I see no reason to use them. Like, they don't necessarily feel better than what you've got in. Like, there's not a lot of Modern Warfare 3 weapons because they don't exactly have a lot to work with because they had all of these in Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
But it's like, I play it and I'll get killed by one of the guns. I'm like, what are you even doing? Why would you use the Modern Warfare 2
I would
stuff?
use it because it's probably all I know.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense because, like, I can definitely, one of the things Noah and I were worried about is that the Modern Warfare 2 weapons would be meta, like, still, and I don't think they are in the slightest.
Are they retuned at all?
They're still good, but they're not meta in the slightest. Like, they you could tell they adjusted them. You can tell that, like, because, you know, the recoil is not nearly as bad as it is in Modern Warfare 2. Because that is one thing. Most of your guns are lasers. You just get a couple attachments on them, and they already weren't moving that much. Now that the ACR, man, chef's kiss.
I love it. I love a good game with the ACR.
But yeah, it's like it's there. And the only things I thought was, like, why didn't they just move maybe some of the guns over, the best guns or something like that and stuff? But, you know, then Timmy would be mad because the blueprint he bought through microtransactions isn't in the game, but Danny's is in the game. And yeah, that's why they really moved everything forward is, hey, all your stuff comes with you.
And good, like I said, the amount or the number of new guns is not. People would be mad if they dropped or they, you know, loaded in and there's only 3 Cypers.
Yep. Feels like a necessity. I mean, there's 3 new. There's like 4 pistols, 3 new shotguns, about 3 or 4 battle rifles, marksman rifles, which honestly the battle rifles at this point feel like ARs. On like the Boss B is straight up an AR with less bullets. Like, that's it. So as soon as you get the bigger clip, you just equip that and go. And then really, it's a stupid gun, like at the very beginning of that game. And then they've got like maybe 6, 7 ARs and like 5 SMGs. Like,
see, they already defined the meta. There you go.
It's not enough to fill. It's not enough to fill the game.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
But I am excited because we will be getting ranked mode in sometime, probably in January. So,
okay. All right. Let's pivot to Grand Theft Auto 6. We know the trailer is coming in early December. We got that. I think they're going to drop it during the Game Awards. You know, I think, and you guys are nodding your heads. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like it just makes sense. Every year viewership for the Game Awards goes up. So why not take advantage of that and, you know, put it in front of the bunch of eyeballs that are going to be watching this year, especially after this year was jam-packed with crazy good games. No, what do you think?
I mean, they said early December, right? And like,
yeah,
Game
December
Awards
7th is the Game
coincidentally Awards. Right then, you know.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense. I like Grand Theft Auto is big, and they could just tweet out the trailer, on a random Wednesday, and it would still break the internet. But
Dude, the
why not
announcement
do
of the
that?
announcement had like
Yeah.
Well,
So
I just
over
think
a
it's so
million.
funny that there's so many people know this is so big they're gonna want to do it at their own thing. I'm like, what thing? A blog post?
Yeah.
Like they don't go and do their own event. This is free eyeballs, and then you throw it online and get the same amount you were about
Yeah.
to get.
You're double dipping, and
Yep.
they're, like we said, they could announce it on their own and it would still go
They
insane.
could, yeah.
But why
Just put it
not
on
double
YouTube.
dip? Yeah.
Yep.
Like do that, and
You have
same time.
guaranteed eyes on this show, especially how big this
Mhm.
game is. This year has been of games. Everybody's going to be watching this thing.
Yeah,
because they
I
want
would
their
put
game to win.
money. I would put money that it closes the show.
Oh yeah. Well, you don't do.
Oh, you
don't
have
have
to
something
close
like
it.
that and don't
Yeah.
close with that. Which, just so everybody knows, Rockstar Games is on the advisory council of the Game Awards.
Oh, I didn't know that because I was thinking, I was like, if Keeley actually does land this trailer in the Game Awards, I mean, super props to him.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess it's a little bit easier when you got Rockstar on the advisory board.
So yeah, it'll break the internet, when it drops. So
Yep.
yeah, I see no way this doesn't land or premiere during the Game Awards. It's just
Yep.
too easy of a success to have.
For me, it's always the could it be outside of it? Sure, but again,
Yeah.
why not do it here when you know everybody's watching?
And also that's going to boost the Game Awards numbers too, because people are going to watch it for that trailer.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Which-
it's a mutual,
Well,
It
what's
benefits
funny
both.
is this is what the advisory council thing says. It says the advisory board helps guide and advance the mission of the Game Awards.
okay.
That's literally their mission statement.
More
You know a better way
numbers.
to
What
advance the Game
What
Awards?
could help? GTA 6.
Yeah, at this point, the Game Awards is a loot-based game. How do we make our numbers go up?
Yep.
And I guarantee
And you got to
that's-
have something big.
Well, that's all. I would assume too. That's why they did that. Announcement tweet or whatever was to get people to watch the Game Awards in
Yep.
anticipation of that. Because if they would have just surprise dropped it, they wouldn't have got nearly as many views, or eyes on the Game Awards.
What do you guys
Yeah.
think about the idea of there's some people out there who would suggest that an announcement this big overshadows the actual awards, right? The developers get their accolades and all that stuff. Do you guys care?
I don't care.
I think the
I'm there
people
to
who care
celebrate
about
gaming.
the award, yeah. And I think the
You know.
people who care about the awards are going to be watching it for that. Like the
Why not
people who
both?
actually think about it. That's just the way I look
I
at it.
mean,
Yeah.
I watch the Game Awards for two things now. Like it used to be, to see the awards, but now it's like, let's see what's going to premiere.
Yeah.
It's great to have two reasons to watch the Game Awards versus
Yeah.
just one. I like that. So
I
don't
that's
see a problem with it.
that's
Like,
where
Fam,
I'm
not
coming
sitting.
from.
It's like, fam, I'm not sitting here through all of these esports nominations. Like, as much as I appreciate what esports is, I just don't have an interest. So,
Well, especially us, we don't have an interest in those particular esports. Although I have watched Valorant, and that is a fun game to watch. But I mean, yeah, the developers get their accolades. People will check out the games that they're interested in after they watch the awards. But I mean, honestly, I don't remember half the awards from last year. I barely even, Elden Ring was Game of the Year. Okay, that's pretty much all I remember from the Game Awards last year, and probably will be the same this year, even with all the bangers, and
I
probably
remember having a fun trip with Noah.
yeah. So yeah, I'm
and us
I'm fine
laughing,
with
thinking that Keeley was going to come out with a lightsaber.
Oh yeah,
That was
it
so
was
funny.
just Keeley.
I just wonder
We
what
both looked at each other and
Oh.
immediately thought the same exact thing.
I wonder what random ad Keely's going to have that's going to break the internet again. Last year it was DoorDash. What's it going to be this year? what's wild is even with the amount of leaks that have happened for Grand Theft Auto 6, I mean, literally the whole breach lawsuits, teenager goes, all that stuff. We still don't know 100% what the frick GTA 6 will be. And the level of anticipation is as if no one knows what the game actually is. And I love that. Like, I hate that the leaks happened, like for the developer, and all that stuff. That is unfortunate, but we still don't really know. Yeah, we think it might be set in Miami. Yeah, it could feature a female protagonist, but we don't actually freaking know. So when the trailer drops, it's still going to be like, oh!
It's still going to be like new.
Welcome to Grand Theft Auto 6 Management Sim.
It is a city builder. It is a business. It is everything.
I thought David was going to say Battle Royale.
Oh, you missed your opportunity, David, on that one.
It might happen, though.
A running joke.
No.
But John Unishek actually had something interesting to say on Twitter. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this after the leak of the potential like early December trailer, whatever announcement that was leaked. John Unishek, he is a senior community manager for Halo. He said, and I'm just going to read the whole thing. He said, quote, "The people who asked to not be identified because they weren't authorized to speak publicly, they decided to undermine multiple years of hard work by their colleagues. If you're ever fortunate enough to work on a game that millions of people care about, don't be this person. Imagine you and your teammates have been dreaming of this moment since day one. Now that it's almost ready, entire teams have started planning to turn that reveal into something truly memorable for the fans, the studio, and the gaming community as a whole. Then, right before the announcement, someone takes it upon themselves to undermine it all, robbing millions of fans of the reveal that they deserve. Rather than being a spectacular surprise, you are now an expectation, all because of one person. Don't be that person. Please just let cool moments be cool." He was talking about the Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks. Now, I know we're not developers, obviously, but I mean, are developers really that sour over a release date for a trailer being leaked? I don't see that.
I mean, I guess it does kind of suck because, that's their first official GTA 6 announcement beyond we're working on it. So, I get it, especially if it was an intentional thing of leaking it and such.
Which, of course it was.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. I guess it's just we're just in an age of that stuff. It gets around. Somebody either intentionally did it or they told a friend who told a friend who told a friend kind of thing. So it's like, dude, we're in the age of social media. Like, you literally work in social media. This is a pretty regular thing. Heck, your own company accidentally posts crap and reveals it the day before all the time.
Yeah.
Like, this just happens. Does it stink? Yeah, but it happens whether you like it or not. Like, again, sometimes it's going to be intentional. Sometimes it's going to happen and an intern's going to get fired because they pressed the button too quick or scheduled something incorrectly. But
I think anytime a studio or devs, if they're working on something and it doesn't get unveiled in the time frame or the way that they want it to be, I definitely think it is frustrating. But depending on the severity, if a little announcement gets leaked, I don't think the devs are going to lose a ton of sleep over that. If their entire game and trailers and stuff got leaked, yeah, that's going to really suck.
Didn't you remember the leak that happened well before this? That was supposedly like actual gameplay.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I referred to that. Yeah, when I brought the topic, actual code was the source code.
We know much more than this.
Well, so here's the interesting response that Tom Warren had to John. He said, "I'd say hacking into a studio and stealing early code and putting that out there is undermining years of work. Putting a reveal date out there for something that's already been officially announced and leaked hardly undermines years of work. That's what he said in response to what John Unishek said.
Yeah, I think it's more just on this line of it sucks. It's not necessarily this humongous thing. Does it take a little bit of the wind out of your sails? Sure, but I mean, like you said, it's an announcement of an announcement more than it is anything. So
but that's why I'm like, John, like I feel like you're going a little hard on this because at the end of the day, like everybody's still freaking excited about this announcement, and still nobody actually really knows what this announcement, like what Grand Theft Auto 6 is really going to look like. I think if I'm working at one of these developers, I'm wondering who the frick is leaking this information. Like that's what I want to know. Like, wouldn't you want to know? Like, dude, like who is leaking this stuff?
Starts grilling everybody. I'm gonna find them.
Like I want to know what it's like to be the person who knows the person who leaked it. Like what's that got to be like? Goodness gracious.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about the Game Awards. So, I have to be honest, I totally called this. So many people thought Starfield would be nominated for Game of the Year. I had someone on Threads actually who works at Ubisoft tell me there's no way it was going to not be nominated because Microsoft would pay for it to be there, you know, because who knows? I have no idea like how this actually all goes down. The Game Awards says it on their website, but you know, who knows what goes on in the back end. But you know, after the nominees were revealed, I got the thread from that person saying, I stand corrected. Feels good, man.
You got to take the small victories.
I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure I literally called every single one of the Game of the Year nominees,
except Mario Wonder. That's the one I
called that one. I did call that one.
You did call Mario Wonder? I thought you said they wouldn't have 2 Nintendo games on there.
No, I'm actually the one who kept saying they would.
It must be nice being able to remember that because I don't remember what I said. It must be really nice. I don't.
Perhaps that's what you said, Noah. I don't think that.
I said I knew BG3 and Tears would be on there, but I don't remember what my other picks were. So,
well, good on you, David, because you called Alan Wake 2, and all the other ones that were on there. I knew I wanted Mario Wonder to be there. I figured it should be there. I didn't think it would actually be there, so I am surprised Mario Wonder did make it. But I'll just get a little personal. I'm still a little miffed Street Fighter 6 didn't make it to the actual Game of the Year. It's, that's just for me. So how do we feel about the nominees? Just general feelings.
I mean, with how this year has been, I think that's pretty fair. I get all of them on there. The one that it's not that I don't think it didn't deserve to be on there. It's just with so many incredible titles that launched. RE4.
I knew you were going to say Resident Evil 4.
It kind of surprised me, like in a good way. Like I didn't think it was going to get on the nom list, but I'm happy that it is because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I thought it was good. Well, let's go through most of these. We'll just skip all the esports ones.
Which I'll say that I get the frustration some people have had with RE4. Like I get
frustration has there been with RE4?
Oh, it's a remake, so it doesn't deserve to be up there.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Did they have a remake there last year?
2019. Well, last year there wasn't anything. There wasn't a lot of good games out to fight for Game of the Year, so it was tough to get everything nommed.
So if you're mad at remake, Street Fighter 6 should have been it.
Yeah, 2019 actually, Resident Evil 2 remake was actually on Game of the Year nomination list.
Oh, yep, I remember that.
So yeah, most of the people who are arguing about Starfield are the ones who are most upset by that. And the thing I kind of get a laugh out of, and I don't mean it in a mean way towards Xbox, but they could have had 8 slots, and even if you take Resident Evil out, I'm not even sure Starfield even still gets nominated.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Well, if we looked at, I mean, good God, yeah.
Yeah,
Alan
I
Wake
don't
2,
think so.
Spider-Man
It's
They
just
did.
been such a
Well, there's-
strong year. That's
I
what I'm
know.
getting at.
Mhm.
Like, because Final Fantasy VII, you've got Street Fighter 6. It's a very mild
You mean
take
Final
in my
Fantasy
opinion, but
16?
Hi-Fi, yeah, or 16, yeah, sorry.
Okay. I was
Hi-Fi
just like,
Rush
what?
deserves
Did
to
it
be
drop?
not.
I was getting freaked out.
I know. I
was
did
like,
have
did
that
Rebirth
for a
drop
moment.
and I
was
missed
like, wait
it?
a minute.
Oh God! I was about to, guys, I gotta go. Like, I was about to freak out for a second.
You know, Hi-Fi Rush deserves to be nominated over Starfield.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
To me, I would say hot take, but I don't think that's a really hot take.
No. So fun thing I've been doing on Threads. I've had a kind of a game of the year tournament poll thing going for like the last whatever amount of days, and I literally went through like all the games from like scoring 100 to 80 and put them in like a whatever. I don't know how many games. A 58 game bracket. And my criteria was the game had to at least score an 80, and the game had to have a 85% recommendation on OpenCritic. Guess what game didn't make it? Starfield. And people were like, where's Starfield? It was like, hey, it did not meet the criteria. Like, that game was just so divisive. All right, let's look at these categories.
Let's get back to that because we could get in that other conversation.
Yeah,
for quite a while.
Well, I know.
And we'll probably still jump into it here at some point.
So let's start with the most anticipated game. You got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, Tekken 8. I always feel weird about this category, but those are the 5 games that are there.
It's weird because like there are other big games that are supposed to be 2024 that are just not there.
Like, which ones?
Like, well, Avowed is supposed to be coming out next year. I don't know if maybe it's just me, but I don't think that I know Hellblade isn't necessarily. I feel like they had 2024 on it. How is that not on there? Hades 2 is going to be early access. Like, so, you know, I know that's not always a determiner or whatnot, but like you've got just those 2 right off the top of my head.
Yeah, okay, so the category reads recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. I don't think Star Wars Outlaws is that is the Division Star Wars. Tekken 8, that's not going to push the medium forward. God knows what could happen with Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth based on what we've seen with
I wouldn't at least put it past them.
No. Hades, I mean, Supergiant.
I think Hades 2 is going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing against that. I'm just saying
No.
it is early access. Like,
Yeah, but
Watch
the
that
potential.
tone, boy. That's
like-
82 you're talking about. That's
Watch your mouth. Hades, I mean, Supergiant, they just don't miss. So I feel like it could do something for the industry. And then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I mean, the remake in general of Final Fantasy VII has kind of defined how remakes should be. So that's already pushed the medium forward.
which I think between the 2 of those, it's actually between Final Fantasy and Hades, those are probably you're going to be one of those 2 is your winner. Like, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's look at best adaptation. I generally don't care about adaptations, but I know you guys do. But you got Castlevania Nocturne, Gran Turismo, The Last of Us, Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Twisted Metal. So those are best adaptations. Have there been other adaptations this year?
Not that I remember.
Yeah, it's
think
like,
this
not
is
that I
pretty
can
much-
think of.
I mean,
I
you
was
know,
like-
good on Sony for having 3 entire things releasing. I mean, that's pretty crazy, you know, to have that much.
I mean,
Mario
Sony
movie was fun.
I mean, Sony was a, production studio before they were mostly known for games at this point.
And
so
we didn't talk about it because we didn't have the podcast last week, but they just announced that they went in with Nintendo to they're making a Zelda movie.
Yeah. Which people think that's crazy. I don't think that's crazy. I mean,
no, you go to somebody who's probably going to help you finance it. Universal probably, in all fairness, Universal probably nickel and dimed Nintendo on the Mario movie. So they're probably getting a much better deal with Sony, I would imagine.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Let's go to best multiplayer.
This one's funny.
Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
I don't see a game in there beyond maybe Party Animals, which I've not played, that like makes me think classic multiplayer.
Well, okay,
that's what I mean.
What is classic multiplayer to you?
Well, like a Call of Duty kind of style game, like the 6-on-6, like fighting each other, like kind of the more. I guess that's more what I look at when I think multiplayer.
I guess these are more co-op-y multiplayer.
Yeah, like that's I get the idea of Street Fighter 6, like that is still multiplayer. You just don't see fighting games a lot of times in multiplayer.
It is. It's good though.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Well, the category reads for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform.
Oh, yeah. And I agree. It's just that kind of shows you that we've had a lot less this year. That's great when it comes to like you're not getting like we've already kind of talked about how live services kind of died. So that also means that a lot of that kind of stuff did not do well.
But I think that's why.
Are classic.
But I think live services is the reason why we're not seeing a breadth of different multiplayer experiences, because they're already out and they're going to be in another category that we are going to bring up eventually.
Missed opportunity for them to put Redfall in. Just saying.
Hey, Redfall missed the opportunity. Best sports and racing category. You got EA Sports FC 24. That used to be FIFA. F1 23, Forza Motorsport, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, Turbocharged, and The Crew Motorfest. So, actually, shout out to The Crew Motorfest. That game is actually good.
Shout out to The Crew. Yeah,
that game is good. I really liked it
at Ubisoft's Forward event, and it is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
this is like the esports categories for me. I just skip it because it's just not my.
No, that's not your bag.
Yeah, I'm like League of Legends. Oh wait, not here. Okay,
just keep going. I like racing games. And notice there's no Madden on here. Actually, I just noticed that. In fact, well, I guess the best sports and racing is typically outfitted with mostly racing.
A lot of times because those are just really well done.
Yeah. Okay. Best strategy, best sim and strategy. You got Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, City Skylines 2, Company of Heroes 3, Fire Emblem Engage, and Pikmin 4.
Also, shout out Nintendo for just killing it this year.
Yeah. Best family. Disney Illusion Island, Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
And Alan Wake 2.
Ha! How do you just...
that would not be a family game.
I know you said it, but I just want to know in a joking fashion, how in the world do you justify that as a best family game? Is it about family?
She's searching for her daughter. So
everything's about family.
Haven't you watched The Fast and the Furious?
I was going to say The Fast and the Furious.
Thank you, David, for part 2ing my joke. Thank you.
if you want more of that, go to our holiday guide, because I make that joke about the Fast and Furious arcade 1-up cabinet.
Best fighting category: God of Rock, Mortal Kombat 1, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery, and Street Fighter 6. Look, I'm going to be completely honest here. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 does not belong on this. Not at all. This is not a good game. Everybody
else disagrees with you, apparently. I know, because it's getting great reviews.
It's getting great reviews from people who don't actually know the nuances of platform fighting games. It's not a good platform fighter. It is decent at best. It is not.
This is the area where where you are the connoisseur.
I am
stuck up connoisseur.
I am absolutely stuck up. And
You and your fighting games.
you got to have standards when you play fighting games.
Meanwhile, I'm over here like, I don't know what two of these things are.
Best RPG: Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield. Look, I know the joke that is coming. Final Fantasy 16 is not an RPG. We don't need to beat that joke into the ground, but I mean, what else would go here if Final Fantasy 16 were not here?
It's an action RPG, whether people like it or not. Is it dumbed down compared to what it used to be? Sure, but come on. The term RPG has evolved so differently.
Dude, every game is an RPG at this point, almost.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Best act. Thank you for that, Noah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna be like, well, my Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty could be an RPG too.
Yeah, that's actually interesting that it's not on there.
Everything's
missed
an RPG.
opportunity for Redfall.
You're fired.
It's best RPG, best Redfall playing game. I broke it, didn't he?
That might be the worst best joke you've said in a minute, homie. Like,
oh my god, that was awful. That's why it was so funny. Best action adventure. We need to move on.
Yeah, we do.
Alan Wake 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, those are all solid choices.
I'm actually really happy to see Jedi get a little bit of recognition. I wasn't sure it was going to get any.
I agree. I like the fact that Survivor got in there, but why isn't Remnant 2 on there?
Because Remnant 2 is in a different category. Is it next, actually?
Right above it, yep.
Is it shooter or best action?
Best action. And that is Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2.
Okay. Yeah, because I haven't seen these nominees fully, so I'm reacting. So I'm glad that Rem 2 got a nom, though, because that game is so good.
I just started playing it again today because I only played it for about 64 minutes according to Steam. So I was like, I need to play this game before the end of the year so I can have a better perspective of what this game is. I can't wait to play more. I'll say that much.
Yeah, it's so good.
All right.
Lots of twos in that category, though.
There's been a lot of twos this year.
Yep.
Best VR and AR, Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Humanity, Resident Evil Village VR mode, and Synapse. You ain't got no thoughts, David? You're like the VR guy.
There's a lot of good stuff, man. Like Gran Turismo 7 is surprisingly good in VR.
Oh, okay. Do all of these deserve to be here?
I think so. I mean, this hasn't been... I'm not going to say it's like there have been some really good releases, but it's not been a banner year in terms of like phenomenal VR releases. So like there are some really good things here, and Horizon was really, really cool.
All right, I'm going to skip best mobile game because we don't play mobile games on this podcast. We are snobs when it comes to that. Why didn't I see that coming?
You think that joke would get old. You think that joke would get old and kind of predictable, but it still lands. It really does.
Lands.
Yep. Better than David's Redfall joke.
Yeah.
Best. That one will get old as quickly as Redfall did. Best debut indie game: Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder. So my
debut indie game is first game by that developer.
Right. Tunic won it last year, I think. Which was a fantastic game.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that right, Tunic?
That sounds right.
Yeah, okay.
Let me look real fast.
David, get on that.
Yeah. My sub-producers here. Co-hosts and sub-producers. The regret I have is that I have not played any of these.
I've heard Dredge is phenomenal.
Same, dude. Yeah,
I've heard nothing but like incredible.
Corvo
Jackson
reviewed
came
it.
on.
Or Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah. Jackson
because
did.
he came on and talked about it.
Yeah, I remember that.
No, actually, best debut indie last year made you mad.
Because it was
Stray. Oh, yeah.
Because it won
again.
best debut and best indie.
That's right. It was Stray. God.
I thought it was. I just didn't want to say it and be wrong.
I might be thinking of the year before. Maybe Tunic came out that year.
No,
and
it
that's
beat
why
Tunic.
I'm mad. It beat Tunic. Yeah, that's why I'm mad. Okay. Yep. That's exactly why.
Because you were also mad about Sifu.
Oh, yeah. You're
Don't open up that wound, homie. Just let him heal. Let him heal.
I've heard Vemba's good. I just heard Viewfinder was good because I'm doing my little.
I've heard Viewfinder's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cocoon is good too. I don't want to play Dredge.
Game Pass, right?
Okay.
I think.
Yeah,
that's the one where you hop between worlds, right? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Or it's
I
zooms
honestly don't know. It is Annapurna. They publish good stuff.
Yeah.
But I really,
it's been one of those years. It's been so top heavy that it's been hard to play the good indies. So
I know, yeah. And I'm very sad and mad at myself that I have not played any of the. I'm not going to play Dredge, but I do still want to play Cocoon, Venba, and Viewfinder. So if I could squeeze some time in before our end of the year discussion, I will try. All right, the next one, best independent game. It's loading. Here we go. Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, and Viewfinder. So pretty much all the same games from best debut, except Sea of Stars.
Really funny is Dave the Diver. Apparently, Dave the Diver is published by Nexon, so it's not really an independent game.
So
everybody's up in arms about it.
So I think the nuance with Dave the Diver is that it was originally created and released as a independent game, and then Nexon came in and kind of, or at least, before they released the game, Nexon came in and did that. So I think Nexon was just like in the back end, and then they kind of helped out.
Which I love. I've heard the game's fantastic, but like it was kind of a funny thing to hear about.
Yeah, I feel like on a technicality, it's fine. Just let it be there.
It's fine.
All right.
Another funny one.
Yikes!
I don't know if it's funny.
It's not funny, haha, but
it's
it's that dark humor.
ironic. Yeah. Best community support. You got Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, and No Man's Sky.
Which of these things is not like the
other? One just had a stellar year, and one just had an abysmal year.
I want to see Jeff say Destiny 2 with a completely straight face into the camera when giving off these noms, or do you think they'll skip it and just do like the little like the in between?
Oh, fam, that's going in on the screen. Yeah, that's going in the screen.
Right.
When everybody goes to like the bathroom, kind of thing. Yeah, that's when they'll drop it.
We should.
Or he's gonna rattle them off after Game of the Year, so he can run away.
Yeah, he's like best music for Final Fantasy 4 and just runs. Like he won't even say the noms.
Mythical money on this. Where this will go?
Where it falls?
An actual, like what actual
time
announcement?
Slot? Hour 2.
And
Sydney, he sticks it to Sydney Goodman.
Yeah,
she's got to do this.
Okay, so I don't want to be here, but
figure out which one is missing from this category. Best ongoing: Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. Those are the nominees for that.
I mean, no Overwatch. How dare they?
Oh yeah, I know. It's a couple of them that are missing. That would previously have been there.
Which, hey, was it next year? When is Bobby Kotick? Is he out at the end of next year?
No, he's out at the end of
January.
This year. So
he's out
next
January.
year, hey, Game Awards 2024, best ongoing game. It'll be Overwatch 2 for a nom. Just wait.
No,
Get that
what
man out of there. Get that man.
World
out
of Warcraft will make a Rising Vengeance back.
Again, we all say this as if Bobby's the only problem at Activision Blizzard.
He might
know,
not be
right?
the only, but he's the main. So
Yeah, but you do have all these people say Microsoft go walk in there. Have we seen them even do that at one studio yet?
No, of course not. Games for Impact. A Space for the Unbound, Chance of Semnar, Goodbye Volcano High, Chia, Terranil, and Vemba. I still need to freaking play Chia. I bought the game and I still haven't played it yet.
We know what Anthony's vote is here.
Yeah, absolutely. Goodbye Volcano. No. Y'all know I'm a Space for the Unbound lover. We'll see what actually happens. What is this game? Oh yes, innovation in accessibility.
Man,
that was a what?
I just sneezed really hard.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the
shook,
thing, so
bro. Hold on. Whoa.
Bless you.
Man, thank you.
Diablo 4, Forza Motorsport, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, and Street Fighter 6. But what's the accessibility like in Spider-Man 2?
Oh, it's fantastic. Like they've got a lot of great. Sony has always done a really good job with their games and putting in like these different accessible things, working with people to actually help them. Like I think
that's
Spider-Man,
true. Yeah,
you can drop
The Last of Us Part 2,
you can drop game speed. You can actually change the way when you swing around corners. Obviously, you can change the like color of different like you can make the main character be like a certain color, whereas the enemies are certain colors. All that kind of different. Like they've done a lot with that, with narration and all that kind of stuff.
All right, best performance.
This is such a man.
You got Ben Starr for Final Fantasy 16, Cameron Monaghan. What is that? Monaghan, thank you. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Idris Elba.
Very happy to see him there.
Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, Melanie Libbard, Alan Wake 2. Did I say that right? Yep. Neil Newbon, Baldur's Gate 3, and Yuri Lowenthal, Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Really good performances all the way around.
Yeah, that is a stacked nominee list.
Yeah. It's nice to know we're at the point in video games where voice acting is actually reliably good at this point.
Yep. Yeah, love Cameron and as Cal.
That's
glad
cool.
to see he's getting his flowers with a nom.
Best audio design: Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4. I haven't played Resident Evil 4. I haven't played Spider-Man 2. So you gave me a clip of what Alan Wake 2 sounds like, David, and it does sound good. Dead Space, actually, that game is remarkably.
Yeah, I've heard they did a really good job with Dead Space. Yeah.
All Hi-Fi Rush is the one I'm most familiar with, but yeah, that game does a really good job too, especially just mixing everything that's happening. Best score in music. We got Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
I love how everything is like named people, and then it's Nintendo Sound Team.
I was about to say, I love that. That's
dude, there's
funny.
There's like 300 tracks in Tears of the Kingdom. Like, there's just no way to name.
It's just funny.
Yeah. That is classic Japanese, when they had the Sega or the Sonic Sound Team and all that stuff. Best art direction. This category includes Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I actually, I'm not like a huge, I'm not a huge Souls-like person, but I did find Lies of P's like designs quite enrapturing. I'm not that unique kind of person. Yeah. I
like
I typically do not.
Yeah, really cool.
Do not typically like that stuff, but I was captivated by it for sure. So good on them for getting nominated. What is this? Best narrative. Now this should be interesting. So Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, and Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Stacked.
Yeah, that is one you're just. Oh, there's gonna be kind of like a game of the year. It's a slugfest. There.
I feel like the weakest one
You
is
can
Final
pick-
Fantasy 16.
You can pick any of those 5, and it's legit. Like,
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard mixed things about the narrative with Final Fantasy 16, because I guess it ripped too much off of Game of Thrones, is what I heard, and so it just didn't feel as authentic in its storytelling. I don't know if you guys played it, so
I need to play more of it.
fair enough.
I played the demo, and that was enough to sell me on it. So
There you go. I did watch a little bit of it. I was in. So best game direction: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom. This one should be really interesting too.
So prequels. This is mini game of the year noms, basically.
Pretty much.
So
I'm curious as if you'll get the pity nom for this. If it'll be the whole whoever gets best game direction doesn't get game of the year, like if they do that thing, because we've seen that happen before where teams really liked the game and they gave them the studio best game direction and then gave game of the year to the other.
But each of these, I mean, they deserve best game direction.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they're all
fully agreed.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
stacked.
They all do. Yeah. They all do something so interesting. It really, it's like, just what do you appreciate? And then game of the year. We all saw this. That was what Keeley put out immediately, but it is Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
It's just
Yeah.
I'm working on our game of the year stuff behind the scenes right now, and geez, it is just you feel like you're leaving things out. Like this is the first year in a very long time where you just straight up feel like things are getting left out.
Yeah. This
And it's
like-
not because it's not really a snub. It's like, what do I replace? What do I put it? What else do I take out?
You need like
Right.
10 to
Gotta
12
figure out.
noms, like double the nominees
Yeah.
for this, just so that way.
But even still, you put that many like you include them
It's
all.
insane.
Yeah, it's
What a year.
there's a lot of good stuff. This has been a crazy year. I
Great
can't
year.
remember a year this stacked from top to bottom. I know there's been one, but I just can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Because usually there's like 2 or 3 that you're like, yeah, they're it's those 2 and then like the rest. Now it just feels
Well,
like
I mean,
And even if you still feel that way, like even if you're still on the Baldur's Gate Tears of the Kingdom like side, which like I've actually moved more to Baldur's Gate Alan Wake. Like even if you're in that 2 are locked, it's like the other 4 are not slouches. Like it's not like in other.
there's
years
not a
where,
big
like,
gap. It's
there's
right
such
behind.
a gap. Yeah.
yeah, usually there's a tremendous gap. And even though, something like Mario Wonder only scored a 92 or 91 and Alan Wake it was like high 80s or something, like just what they do like cannot be ignored.
Yep.
They're just so gargantuan, so
Phenomenal at what they do.
yeah. It's going to be Baldur's Gate 3 or Tears of the Kingdom, I imagine, but I mean all of these games are ridiculous.
Yep. My biggest thing is just with the way the press reacted to Alan Wake 2, I would just not be surprised in the slightest if it grabbed more than we expect as far as like a kind of underdog in these races. Just because so many big critics love that game.
I agree with you. I think it'll take home probably more awards than what you would think with Baldur's Gate 3.
Well,
It's got 8 nominations. It's
it's got
with
more
Baldur's Gate
nominations
3.
than Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, exactly.
It has as many.
Oh, Baldur's Gate has 8.
Both have 8.
I just don't think
Okay.
Baldur's is going to sweep as much as we,
Yeah.
thought originally.
Marvel Spider-Man 3 actually, Marvel Spider-Man 2 actually somehow, got 7, which is pretty, like, it even is kind of an underdog in sense of getting nominations. I mean, I don't see it winning a lot, but.
Hey, Noah, did you notice that Freudian slip? Marvel Spider-Man
said
3. Did you notice that?
I was waiting for Noah to go, wait, did it come out?
I just leaves. I just take
I
off
was like,
running. See,
does he have some inside information?
That joke next week, I'll probably make that joke. I can't do it twice in the same episode. So
you can be doing it by yourself because we're gonna be all enjoying Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, seriously.
oh yeah, we'll be sitting here. Yeah, be like, guys, just like looking around.
Yep. I'm gonna be sleep on the couch with the itis just from all the wonderful food. So with that said, we will not be here next week because it's Thanksgiving. So y'all have a fantastic Thanksgiving. But we'll be back the next week to discuss all these nominations and to make our predictions to see what will win, as well as talk about a little bit what we would like to see win as well. So it's just going to be a big old Game Awards bash. And then the next week after that, we'll probably get back into a little just regular game talk because, we're in that season. I got, by that time, I'll have 4 games to talk about. I'll have my choices.
Himself.
Huh?
Gonna lead the show himself.
Yeah, I can do a solo show. I can do that. That's not a problem. Yep. So, yes, it's that time of year. It used to be summertime. Now it's the end of the year. Jeff Keighley trying to do both summer and the winter. All right.
All year round.
Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you listening. Talk to you later.